Remember, this spiral is drawn in 2 dimensions, representing a 3-dimensional spring model. I have here just a spring, and when you come down in one direction, you keep going the same directions on the way up, and so one spiral is inside the other. That's a through spiral. Through spirals go down and come back up the same direction. In density, you may have to set up the connection between the soul configuration of each of the centers with each of the bodies. On a minimal level of purification individually done has traditionally been required before higher and or the soul beings are permitted to assist. Taking responsibility for one's well-being is always part of the equation, and with 2012 energies upon us, this standard may or may not have been relaxed for you. You'll have to check with your higher to see. I suspect it depends on your karma, ray type, life lessons, and what you choose as a service, etc., etc. When one reaches the lower centers in a soul spiral, remember to keep the same direction as you come back up the spiral in 3 dimensions. The soul is very versatile. It's used to bridging if you have a bunch of people, and together they make a wholeness that the soul is useful, can get its energy all the way through. Then it may come in and work with the group. Push pause and try. Easy enough. Reversals are typically used for death, disease, and destruction. Be careful what you ask for. Reversals have been misused a lot in the past to limit one's connections to their higher selves. One of these good intentions wrong means traps. So setting up a system of outer parallel feedback to monitor if somebody's interfering out of your awareness is always a good idea. The experience today we're going to do is to set up a plant. Of course, you can use almost anything. But we'll just do a sample using a plant. And basically, if you have a project, you'll need a plant that wants to help monitor a project and a particular project you're working on. Bringing the soul spiral if you put in your imagination your project, as you see if your project if it's the right time to do it from the soul's point of view, and you go back up, and it is, then if you ask a plant in your imagination if it would be willing to give you feedback about your project, and this is to have an outer means for an inner project, because projects that are supposed to come through often get completed on one level but not brought through to the outer. And in the Learning by Doing series here, we're trying to bring things through to the outer correspondent. So if you plant your plant and ask if in your imagination if the plant is willing to do this, when you find one that is, set it up for livingness somewhere in your setting. Then go about your routines. The plant will reflect your project. If it's in trouble or has trouble, you need to check both the plant, you forgot to water it or fertilize it, or it needs air or a different sunlight or whatever, and the inner correspondent that it is reflecting. And the soul beings are really resourceful at somebody coming by and tripping over it, or whatever happens to be. If you're having trouble on the inner with your project and it's being interfered with, they'll get the message to you in a contextual frame of whatever it is you've set up to be a reflector of that feedback. And I find that they're, well, not only their sense of humor, but they're very, very, they're outside our normal frames. Sometimes you have to stretch quite a bit to figure out what it is they're trying to tell you, but when you do it, it intuitively will feel like you have much more information than if they just gave you words. At least that's been my experience. So that's the project for today.